Hello guys and welcome back to some more F1 2016 career mode with the Force India. We're doing part 2 today. It's going to be from Bahrain, following on from the first episode recently at Australia. Let's have a look, see what's going on straight away.
I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
Well, that's good news. Second round of the championship, we've already got some upgrades coming to the car. Obviously, the upgrades we chose from the research and development we've done in practice at Australia. We put them on the car, put them into development at the end of last episode, and they're now ready and fitted to the car. You can also have a look on the left-hand side. Sauber F1 team have reduced the drag on their cars. So they're going to be a little bit faster in the straight line, but I'm hoping we're not going to be battling the Saubers in the coming races at least. We're going to be looking further forward, so we just missed out on the points last time out. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched that already. If you haven't, then what the hell are you doing? But yeah, we're going to do practice for Bahrain, of course, under the daylight, unlike qualifying in the race, which would normally be the artificial lighting, of course. But we're going to be doing the research and development, or the practice program, whatever you want to call it, today as well. Got the track acclimatizations first off, time management and the qualifying pace as usual, as well as some team objectives that we might cross off on the list as we're going around. But first of all, it's going to be the track acclimatization. Get used to the track, or at least do probably one lap and see how we get on. Hopefully it'll give us the full 50 points if we can. So let's go out onto the track and do that. So you can see halfway around the lap already, and they just missed the apex there slightly, which has given us a little bit of a green, and losing the back end there as well. So finding it a little bit difficult initially, but say at the moment we're doing enough to get enough purples by the looks of things to try and get a full 50 point reward from the program we're doing. A few greens sort of popping up along the way, but the majority of those are purple on this first lap here, so we should be okay as we're coming into the final corner now on the lap. Just taking it nice and easy, just try and make sure we hit the apex as best we can. And obviously the main thing is going to be the speed. It seems to be sort of the minimum speed you need to be carrying when you go through the corners and through the markers. So thankfully we have managed to beat the target score, that whatever it was that was supposed to be hit. So we get the full 50 points, a perfect track acclimatization, 50 points out of 50, so that's good. That'll be going into the bank for our research and development on the car. But next up, we're going to be doing the tyre management, which, as you can see, the engineer now looking to explain to say we should probably do that, as well as some qualifying pace, which we are going to do. But of course the engineer isn't listening to us, so he's just going to talk and tell us to do what we've already said we're going to do. So, tyre management, let's go. We're going to try the soft tyre, so the middle in the range that's available. And I have to say, we found it really difficult to do this. Say the first lap was perfect on the tyre wear, but we were just too slow for the lap to actually count as a usable lap. And again, second lap we were just a few hundredths off, but again we did not manage to get a good enough overall time. And then on the fourth lap here, coming around, just losing the back end on the curb, and you can just see how much of a dramatic effect that has on the tyre wear. On the bar at the top is fully in the red. As you can see here, just red lap after red. And what we've managed to do here is, just in the bottom right hand corner, we've actually turned the fuel mixture up to rich, because it was obviously the lap time we were missing. I didn't realise just how much fuel we had on board on the car. You can see on the very first lap with rich mixture, we've got the purple and beat the lap time as well. And the second lap was good enough as well, but of course overall we only managed to get 30 points, which was not good enough for any reward points for the tyre wear test. So what we had to do is we basically went out, done it again. We can see we've managed 5 out of 6 purple laps. One was a red lap, which I think the tyre wear or the lap time for some reason just dropped off by a few hundredths. But say on the final lap we basically need to get this lap in, and Rosberg for some reason is going extremely slowly and blocking the line into the corners. We've gone up the inside, and then we think we're clear, and oh no, okay, we're not, because Rosberg's just decided that he doesn't want to give up the position in a practice session, despite the fact that he's going slowly, and has just ruined the lap for us, and ruined the whole test. As I say, you see here, he was slowing down, he was off the racing line, and he's just pretty much held it around the outside for no reason. And as we've taken the racing line as normal, expecting him not to be there, the cars have come stuck together, and we've gone into the barrier, so that has ruined that tyre test for us. Now, because we're a bit stupid and we're raging at Rosberg at this point, we weren't thinking clearly. So coming into the pits, we could have taken the 75 points and got the green score, but coming to the pit lane, and just on the left hand side you can see the little stand where the line is. We've decided to pause the game and return to garage, which of course means that we haven't completed the 7 laps that are required. And whilst the heavy front wing damage is being repaired, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, that's okay, we'll get the green score, that's fine. And then to my surprise, nope, it still failed, and it's still taken the first test that we've done because we didn't complete the 7 laps in full on the second run. So that was actually the end of the first practice session. We'd actually used up all the time that was available there. So we managed to do some of the stuff. We got some good development points started. And then in second practice, so we're actually really committing to this practice program. We're actually using second practice here to get the research done. But we can see we did officially pass the result. We got the purple score. We got the full 50 points on this run, which was good. We've done it on the medium tyre there, and they were looking really quite good. I don't know if it makes a difference if you do it multiple times on different tyres or what tyres you use, but the medium tyre was a pretty good tyre, which is going to come into effect sort of later on in the race and everything. You'll see that obviously as the episode goes on. But now we're going to be using the super soft tyres obviously to do the qualifying pacing. So you come around the final corner on the lap itself. We're more than nearly 3/4 of a second or 2/3 of a second inside the target time we need. So we get. Where are we? We ended up 5th with that lap time in the end by the looks of it, which gave us, again, a perfect score, 50 more points. So second practice was very useful for us. So that was another gain of 151 points, bringing us up to 665. We now have a voicemail.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So, qualifying goals. A little bit, I don't know what they were for last episode, so I think they're a bit worse off at this time. But only got to get 13th or higher and obviously try and beat Sergio if we can. But we have the resource points and we're going to be looking at upgrading the downforce of the car. Now, of course, we've done the weight reduction beforehand. We're now going to be looking at the downforce. I think that's an area where it's going to give us a big improvement. And you can see with that upgrade, it brings us pretty down close to just behind the Williams team by the looks of it. So one more major upgrade and we'll be on par with them. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see what other teams bring to the party in the future episodes. So we're now going to be heading into qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix here. So after Q1, we managed to pick up 12th place, so comfortably inside. So just a sight lap really, just make sure we got through safely. But Q2, we were basically committing to a strategy here. We're going to go onto the soft tyre, of course. Bearing in mind the tyres that if we get into the top 10, the tyres you qualify on are going to be your race start tyres. So at this moment in time, I'm thinking we're committing to a one-stop. I'm going for that one-stop strategy that so many drivers done in Australia. So if we can break into the top 10 here on these soft tyres, that'll be a stupendous result in qualifying. Crossing the line, we managed to get into P8 there. Now, as you saw, the soft tyres were supposed to be about half a second slow. We've ended up 1.2 seconds off pole, but the crucial point is we are into the top 10, as well as the Red Bulls on the soft tyres. So those will be our race set that we start the race on. So that's going to be crucial. That's going to set us up nicely for hopefully pulling off a one-stop, if it's going to be possible. But in Q3, now we're doing our first lap. We've actually got to P3 on the grid, less than half a second off pole. I have no idea where that lap time has come from. But it sets up to P3 at the moment, just Rosberg and Ricciardo ahead, as we now come on to what's going to be our final lap in Q3 to try and improve on that grid slot if we can. A little bit of lock up into turn 1, but you can see we're already ahead on our delta lap time. As obviously the lap we done before was a bit of pretty much a banker, not a massive banker lap, but there's probably a few tenths on the table there, which we're going to try and explore and find on this lap. As the checkered flag now comes out for the session through the first sector, you can see we're nearly quarter of a second up. We've actually gone purple through the first sector, so we are the fastest man of anybody through the first sector in this Q3 session, which is just mega. It's coming out of nowhere. I have no idea where this pace was, considering the struggles we had in practice with the tyre test and everything like that. This is unforeseen, certainly, as we've nailed the apex there, now the braking as well, picking up the throttle nicely, activating DRS as soon as we can. Obviously not doing it too early because the car isn't quite settled enough with the traction to open it straight away. You can see we're a little bit down in the middle sector so far on the previous lap, but we're still up, which is the main thing. Trying to open up this right-hander as much as we can. Slightly running wide here, but we're still up on what we need to be doing. So in the middle part of the lap, we're only 2 tenths off pole at this stage of the lap here. Quarter of a second up on ourselves. That might be enough to move us into P2 on the grid, maybe a front row start. But as I say that, coming through the final corner, we've actually dropped to P4, so somebody's come in between Rosberg and Ricciardo to take a front row grid slot. We're now driving to the line with a better lap time. What's it going to give us on the grid? It's actually P3 in the end. So we've gone 2 tenths quicker than what we did. That has moved us ahead of Ricciardo, so we're going to starting from the lofty heights of P3 on the grid for this Bahrain Grand Prix.
Excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top 3. Rosberg, Vettel and a Force India. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
So there you have it. Hamilton, for some reason, down in 6th place, and it was Vettel that actually got on the front row with Rosberg. But it's just absolutely incredible they managed to get P3 on ultimate difficulty in a Force India on just the second race of the season. We're up to P3 already. You see, beating our teammate comfortably, more reward points as well. That'll be going towards the development of the car in future episodes, which is all crucial at this early part of the career mode to build up the resources, get as much under our belt as we can to make sure that maybe towards the mid part of the season onwards, who knows, we might be in with a real good chance of taking something towards the top end drivers for the championship.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So finished the race in 10th place, so basically a points finish is what Force India want from us today, and I would certainly hope so that we manage to achieve that.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past.
So it's going to be a Twilight Start here. We have got the formation lap this time round, as we're going to do a little bit of a practice start here. Of course, we have got the soft tyres on compared to the cars ahead, which are on the super softs. We've got Ricciardo behind us, who's also on the soft tyres, of course, remember. So hopefully we won't be under too much pressure from behind off the line. As we come around the final corner here, just putting a bit more heat into the rear tyres, but now we're under the automatic control of the AI as we drive towards the grid at 175 miles an hour. Not particularly realistic as we charge towards our grid slot there, but we're lining up on the grid. For some reason we are extremely far to the right hand side of our grid slot there, so that's odd, but it gives us a nice view. If we do get a good enough start for whatever reason compared to those guys ahead, we might be able to find a way through the middle of them. You see Raikkonen on the left hand side of his grid there, so some strange alignment going on. You can see on the mini-map the last few cars coming into place now, and it's a long time to sit on the grid, looking around, gathering your thoughts, and just making sure, focusing on that manual start to make sure you release that paddle at the right time. But now we've got the black screen as the loading comes into play. 5 red lights, the sequence has begun. Here we go. 5 red lights are on, and away they go. And it's a half decent start. Of course, as I said, the soft tyres, not particularly good race tyre to start on, but we've managed to do okay. Ricciardo's got a flyer, he's up the inside. We're going to look around the outside if we can to try and avoid the carnage on the inside, having to avoid Vettel there. There's yellow flags out, so there's been a bit of contact somewhere. But so far, it looks like we've managed to maintain at P3, as of course the car heavy with fuel at the back end, really trying to let go as you put the throttle on. But the main thing for us is that we have maintained P3. Hamilton again with a lightning start up to P4. But so far so good. First sector done and dusted with the race, and no dramas for us to worry about. So just going to the start of lap 2, you can see a bit of debris on the track there, but Vettel looking like he's really taking the fight to Rosberg, and we haven't dropped off massively. Of course, we have got Hamilton behind us on super softs as we now come to the end of lap 2. Of course, DRS now looking to come into play, and you can see Vettel's fastest lap there, only 6 thousandths faster than us, so we're really on the pace. And there's actually a back marker coming out of the pits, and that is going to cause all kinds of chaos into turn 1, and you can see it really is doing that. Rosberg and Vettel being slowed up. We're going to try and get a clear run through turn 2 and 3, see if we can maybe make the most of this. Rosberg looks to be through. Vettel looks to be slowing up. It's actually Magnussen. We're going to go either side of Magnussen down into turn 4. We're up the inside, just about managing to avoid Rosberg, but we are ahead of Vettel, and that is an absolutely incredible move. It has to be said. I mean, you ask people what their favourite or most iconic move is of Formula 1, and they'll normally say the Hakkinen and Schumacher overtake of, was it Belgium 2000, I think it was, where they went either side of the lapped car. I think it's Ricardo Zonta. And this is basically the same thing. You see, Vettel goes onto the racing line. We've gone up the inside on the dirty part of the track. Magnussen sandwiched in the middle, and we've managed to spot the breaking point perfectly, not run into the back of Rosberg, get the car slowed down, and that's got us up into P2 of the race. See, Rosberg goes through from Magnussen's point of view here, and in the wing mirror you can see either side. We're just carrying so much more speed, so I think Vettel had to check up just a little bit to see where Magnussen was going to be going. And you'll be able to see it here as he's coming up behind him. He just has a little bit of a weave, a little bit of a hesitation as he moves onto the racing line to make sure he has that into the corner. But out of nowhere, our Force India appears ahead of him, and that is him down to P3. We are now up into P2, but we are not stopping there. This car, for some reason, has just got stupendous amounts of pace at this point of the race. I don't know if it's just because the heavy fuel and the soft tyres are overheating, or the super soft tyres are overheating for the AI, or what. But these soft tyres are great. With that action of DRS and slipstream, we're now going to look up the inside into this left-hander. It's a dangerous one to try and pull off, and Rosberg holding it around the outside. We're very wary of what happened in practice, and we're still side by side as we go around this fast right-hander. But Rosberg's been pinched to the inside of the corner, and we've managed to get ahead. And we now lead the Bahrain Grand Prix on pure pace alone. That's not, cars retiring and us picking up position. We've managed to overtake Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg on track as we're now coming towards the end of lap 3 in the lead of the race. So we make a bit of a mistake into the final corners. We're checking sort of the fuel and everything, see what's going on. Struggling to get on the power, wheel spin galore. Rosberg behind Vettel in hot pursuit as well. They're both going to have DRS. Hamilton actually peeling off into the pits already, so he's making a bold strategy call there. As Rosberg coming up on us here with the DRS, Vettel as well, but looks like we're going to be okay to just about hold them off and fend them off for now. That piece of debris not yet being removed, so I was almost expecting a virtual safety car maybe there, but Vettel now making the move on Rosberg. So Rosberg's attempt to go around the outside at turn 1 has really hurt him there, and Vettel has managed to get ahead of him. So Vettel really being quite racy today, really taking the fight to the Mercedes and to us as well. But we are still in first place as we cut to the end of lap 4, the start of lap 5. And we're now getting a call from the engineer to say there's an alternative strategy plan, but of course well, as far as I'm aware, our engineer doesn't actually know, because we weren't able to select it pre-race to do a 1-stop. It's either a 2 or a 3-stop. But we are committed basically at this point in our mind we're going to do a 1-stop, despite our pace compared to the AI, as we're now having to be wary of Vettel, as we're sort of debating what we need to be doing with the strategy, almost being caught out by the Ferrari there, but we managed to stay focused enough, hit the braking point nicely, and again, same as the other way round this time, Vettel going for the outside move, and that's cost him a position to Rosberg as we cut a lap or 2 ahead. Now Rosberg has pitted already a lap before, Vettel now going to the pit lane as well. So these guys pretty much committing to at least a 2-stop at this stage. As we now start lap 7, Ricciardo moves into P2 on his soft tyres, and our teammate Perez into P3 also on soft tyres. Now we're now on lap 10, and we are now calling it, this is our moment to pit, as we managed to get the car slowed down nicely. No penalties for us here as we come into the pit lane, looking to put on the medium command tyre, and our teammate also into the pit lane. So there's been a bit of a mix-up here with the Force India pit crew. I don't know if we're far enough ahead for Perez not to be affected, but I'm not too sure. It's a 2.8-second stop, not the quickest I've ever seen, but it's standard and good enough for us at the moment. As of course, all the cars that pitted ahead of us now going through, they're going to have got the undercut, of course, on the fresher tyres. There goes Ricciardo, who was behind us, of course, on the track, but in those sort of 2 or 3 laps where he's pitted and we haven't, he's managed to get the jump on us. He has gone to the medium tyre, but I don't think he's going to be able to go far enough in the race to make a 1-stop work. He's going to have to pit again as well. So all the cars ahead of us, in terms of actual position, which is likely to be the Ricciardos, Hamiltons, whoever, Rosbergs, Vettel, of course, they are going to be pitting again. And you see a few of them have pitted at this stage. The main ones we're looking at are Ricciardo and Vettel, and they are now in the pit lane at the end of lap 19, looking to go on to a set of soft tyres as far as I can see, and we do take back the lead of the race. So we've now got 10 laps to get to the end of this race on this set of tyres, compared to those guys who have just made their final pit stop. And they are going to be super quick, because obviously these tyres are the slowest compound, and of course they are going to be extremely worn. Well, not so much at this moment, 37%. I think was the worst thing. That is still quite a lot, and we're only, well, not even halfway through the stint at this point, so it's going to get pretty dire towards the end of the race. But it's going to be crucial to see what the gap is there. So it's 18 seconds by the looks of it, of what we've got there. So if Vettel is anywhere near 2 seconds a lap quicker than us, which we're going to look at the gap now, so it's actually coming down to 9.2, so I don't know what's happened there, but apparently it's 9.2 there. Next lap, 7.3, that's pretty much bang on 2 seconds. Next time round, 5.5, so it's just under the 2 seconds, which is what he needed. And it's 3.9 now, so basically we didn't have the 18 seconds that we thought we did, and of course Vettel is now still closing in at the rate he needed to be, if that was the gap. So with what's this, coming up to about 3 laps to go, Vettel is now right behind us. There he is, so he's got 3 laps on fresher soft tyres compared to our very worn medium tyres, to try and make the most and try and get this win from underneath us, as he's now looking around the outside into turn 1. He can't make that stick. We've managed to defend it nicely, and that's all we've got to try and do, is just make sure we focus on the exits of the corner, focus on using this Mercedes power unit to our advantage. You can see the tyre up to 66% already, as we've now got Vettel behind us once again. He was very good out of this penultimate corner, coming down into the final corner. He's going to have to go around the outside, though, the long way round, as we come into the final corner here. He has crossed the DRS detection point ahead of us, so we will get DRS. So although he's now passed us and in the lead, we need to focus on using the slipstream, the rich engine mixture, and the DRS, which we now have activated, to try and get that position back if we can. Now we're closing in on him nicely, and we're going to get alongside as we come to the braking zone. Still a very hard move to pull off because we're not on the racing line. We've got worn tyres, we've locked up a little bit, gone in a bit deep, but we have got the position back, and we are back into the lead of the race with just 2 laps to go. Vettel still hunting us down, and we're still having to cover the inside to make sure he can't get the run. We're neck and neck going into turn 4. Spotted the braking point nicely again though, which is just so crucial at this point not to stagger time, go off into the runoff zones. So we're coming to the final corner once again on the end of the penultimate lap. We've got Vettel for the company, we've got Ricciardo who's caught right up as well, so it's now a 3-way fight for the lead as Vettel once again trying to go around the outside. He's going to go flying past on the brakes, and he's turned in. I mean, he was ahead of us, there's been a bit of contact. Vettel's made a complete mess of getting back onto the track and has actually spun out, and that has given us a huge advantage for this final lap of the race. A little bit controversial, there's no denying that. So I'm saying Vettel was ahead, he did turn in, he didn't leave us much room there, and considering he's on the better tyres, he did slow up quite a lot through the mid part of that corner, which is what caused the contact. As you can see, we're now coming down to the final corner once again, but this time it's on the final lap of the race. The tyre wear is just disastrous at this point, but we've managed to do enough. We are going to come across the line, we're going to take the checkered flag as a race winner in Formula 1. It's only taken 2 races, and it's taken the Force India team to allow us to do it, but we are a race winner in F1 here at the Bahrainian Grand Prix. That was a stupendous race from where I was sitting.
Fantastic victory for Force India today.
Just absolutely crazy.
What do you think made the difference here?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though. There's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Force India have really come a long, long way in this sport. And what a special race this was, to see them earn that top spot.
So there we go, standing on the top step of the podium, just our second race in Formula 1. Spraying the champagne, getting a taste of that nice and early in our career, hopefully the first time of many. But yeah, I know there's going to be some controversy about that sort of penultimate lap contact between us and Vettel, which in the end has actually cost him a podium, let alone a race win. But from where I was on the worn tyres, I don't think there's too much I could have done to actually avoid that contact. And it just seemed a bit of a dodgy bit of AI driving in terms of him sort of driving off the track. He probably could have carried on under normal circumstances, but the way that AI reacted, for some reason it's caused him to do that. But I'm not going to complain. We've come away. We didn't get a penalty for it. Obviously the game thinks it's not our fault. I don't think particularly it was too much our fault as well, though of course we were the car behind. But let's not get hung up on that. We are the race winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix, which is absolutely huge for the championship. Even at this early stage, it puts us on the board. I just wanted to show a bit of the consistency that we showed during the race here on the medium tyres. You can see when we put them on, the first 5 laps are 35.7. You can see pretty much we were, apart from the odd lap, in the low to mid 37s. Then towards the end of the race, you can see where the tyres just dropped off on probably lap 27 or so when we started coming under pressure. There's the confirmation as well, obviously, to see its ultimate difficulty, so nothing going on there behind the scenes. But yeah, we were the only guy to make a one-stop work, and I'm so thankful that we did manage to make it work. That puts us back into basically P4 in the championship. Hamilton's still leading, level on points with Ricciardo. Rosberg 5 points behind, and we are just 8 points off the championship lead after 2 rounds, which is pretty mental. We wouldn't have expected that this early in the season. Of course, it's only going to get better for us, hopefully, with the research and development and practice programs that we're doing. So again, after the race, even more resource points that are going to be gained here. 121 gained, up to 368. I'm hoping that the downforce package that we selected might be ready for the next Grand Prix at China. But of course, the bigger packages might take a little bit longer to actually get sort of processed and built and put onto the car. So we'll have to see next time out. I hope to see you guys next time out to see how well we're going to get on at China. Hopefully, looking to carry on from this strong drive that we put on display today, as we've got the career score, which nobody really cares about. As we listen to our voicemail.
Hi, Emma here. I had a sit down with the executives today to talk about your progress. Long story short, they're happy. Keep it up.
That is what we like to hear. The executives are happy. I'm happy. Everyone in Force India is happy. Force India are race winners in Formula 1. We are a race winner in Formula 1. And as you can see, looks like that downforce should be ready for China. So hopefully we'll test that out in the upcoming race. I think at the moment we're going to just save our resource points until the practice after China, and then maybe look to see if we can put a few things into development. But that's going to be it for part 2 of the career mode. Part 3, of course, is going to be up next. That'll be from China, as we've said there. So I hope to see you for that episode, which should hopefully be very soon. But for now, that is going to be goodbye.